Hello everyone. We're starting this one differently.
We are switching things up around here.
Yes.
So from now on, Sundays are going to be coffee chats with us.
We just wanted to, like Ange said, mix things up. Obviously, we still want to give you loads of value, but we also want to just have a bit of a chilled opportunity to shoot the breeze and extra coffee.
Extra coffee. It's also an opportunity to answer your questions, because a lot of you have been wanting to know how our whole minimalist journey started. So we figured, why not just chat on a Sunday, and then during the week those will be the helpful how-tos to motivate you and get you decluttering and moving and whatever else.
So with that in mind, leave questions if you have them, then we'll tackle as many as we can in next week's Sunday video, so we can have a bit of a sort of ongoing conversation with you.
Yeah, that would be great. And of course, if you enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone else you think might appreciate it.
If you're new here, subscribe. If you know someone who should subscribe, tell them and share.
Yeah, and as Forty says, hit that notification bell if you want to. Bing! Okay, so with that in mind, let's dive into our first question.
Yes. So the first question is from Abigail, who was very interested in how our minimalism journey started, our personal story.
Yeah, the second one, I think Rosalie as well. So we'll basically, let's just start with that, our whole minimalist journey, and then we'll see where we end up.
It might be a long one, so maybe the other questions, we can roll them over.
Yeah, let's see. First, a sip of coffee.
And I'll just talk while she sips.
Okay, so our minimalist journey, we always say that it started in 2008 when we sold everything. And it did in a way.
Well, that's when it physically started. So that's the interesting point that Ange actually brought up today.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. It physically started. It physically started then.
Sorry, extra points for me.
We told you it was going to be chatting. So it actually started quite a long time before then. So the basic story is that we always say that it started because of me having to clean out my parents' stuff. And it is true, because I had to do that, I think, early 2007, this happened. But there was a whole lot of stuff that happened before then. And sharing the story, I've been wanting to do it for a long time, because it's why we always honoured you guys to declutter now and not leave it for other people. Because my parents had this big house and a lot of stuff, and they were getting older and more infirm. My father had to have his leg amputated at some point, and Mum wasn't in such good condition. And I would suggest to them nicely, because in the beginning they were still okay, hey?
Yeah.
And I would suggest to them to maybe think about selling their house, because it was a very big house. It was built like in the early 70s or something. Houses were bigger then.
Three or four bedrooms.
3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but massive, and a massive garden.
Massive garden too, yeah.
So, and the other problem with that whole situation is my brother was mentally unstable. It was undiagnosed, but he had a tendency to be volatile, and he still lived at home. So I worried for them. And I always thought if we could sell the house, then I wouldn't have to worry, because they'd be somewhere safe. And they refused. They said no, they don't want to move. And so I kind of left it, and then things got worse and worse, and I kept trying to get them to move, and they wouldn't.
Stubborn.
Yeah,
they were stubborn.
They were really, really stubborn, both of them in their own different ways. So then there was a very sad incident that happened, because people broke into the house, and in that break-in, my brother was shot and killed in the house in front of my parents, which was horrific. Yes. But they still, even after that, they still did not want to move. So I was so frustrated, and I didn't have the means. So basically, and I wouldn't do this now. Obviously, this was my younger self. I ran away to Cape Town and stuck my head in the sand, because they were living in Joburg. So I stuck my head in the sand for like a year. Hey?
So that's 1,200 kilometers away.
Yeah, and I was trying to manage this long distance because I was so frustrated and so like at my wit's end. I really didn't know what to do, so I stuck my head in the sand. It seemed like, I laugh about it now.
Yeah.
It wasn't a nice time. Poor Sporty had to like deal with all my moods. But I had an inspired thing one day, and the other interesting thing about this is there's like a miracle that happened, which I'm keen to share. So we were really, really struggling financially. We were in debt. Only Sporty was working. We were so in debt that her salary would just cancel out our overdraft.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in that situation, I woke up one morning like out of the blue, and I said I'm going back to Joburg and I'm going to sort this out. So there's that, I think the quote is from W.H. Murray. He says, when one definitely commits, then providence moves too.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened. I went back to Joburg, no money, no job. We got me a car, we had a flat up there, and I kicked the tenant out and moved in there with nothing, like I slept on an inflatable mattress. And I got to work, and the strangest miracles started happening. My cousin contacted me out of the blue, and I told her what I was doing, and she immediately offered, I think she lent me like 100,000 Rand, which is...
Yeah, which was massive in those days.
A huge amount of money, and this would tide me over. And the other thing I struggled with is like, where would I move my parents to? Mm. And I found the most perfect place. Again, like, I don't know how it happened, because it was so cheap, so affordable.
And they had availability, because I don't know how it is wherever you are, but all this, from decent to good places here, there are like year-long waiting lists.
Yeah, and it was crazy availability, because my mum, because of what happened with my brother, she developed, her Alzheimer's just like kicked in. So she needed to be in frail care, and my father needed a room, and they had both.
Yeah.
So
a bed in the frail care centre and a lovely little room for days.
And perfectly affordable and whatever. So that just...
Yeah, and in a nice area too.
Yeah, a really, really nice area that was easy to get to, nice to visit there. They were so, so sweet. And I still remember, like, soon after I moved up, I told a friend what I was going to do, and he still said to me, like, you won't get that right. I'll never forget that. He said that you won't be able to do that. And I didn't say anything, because I was what? But these miracles continued to happen. But now my biggest hurdle was, how on earth do I get my parents there?
Yeah.
And this, like, I had to trick them. This is the thing why I'm telling people to declutter now, because it was the most horrible thing I ever had to do. I had to lie to them. So I took them to the doctor, because they needed to get a checkup before they could go. And then I lied, and I said, the doctor said you need to be in this clinic for a while. The clinic was the old age home.
Yeah.
And I got them both in there that way. I took my mom, I put her in there, and then my father, who was so stubborn, he phoned me. This, I think, is also a miracle, because he phoned me and asked for help. He's never done that.
Yeah.
He'd never done
it before.
And I did exactly the same process. I took him to the doctor. I said, you have to go to the clinic. And I drove him there. And as we drove in, he looks at me, he says, this isn't a clinic. Like, he's very sharp, even though he was like in his late 70s. And it was a bit of a fight, but he realized. But the point is, the way I had to do it was horrible. It was hard, and it was horrible. And then I had to go back now and clean out their house and sell it. So obviously I wasn't mindful about, I tried, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we had a time limit to all of this. So
I
had to
sell it quickly.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, because I needed the money from the house to fund that was how we were going to pay. I was going to invest the money and to pay for the old age home.
And pay your
pay my cousin back. Yeah, I mean, she wasn't stressed. She was so sweet. It was it was just crazy. And then the house, the neighbor wanted the house. So like, I didn't even have to advertise it or anything. He took it as is. I didn't get the best price, but I didn't care. It's like I wanted.
It's important to sell.
Yeah, I needed the money. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think, back to your point about not being mindful about getting rid of the stuff, this, and also what you mentioned before, being mindful before that situation happens, so somebody doesn't have to go in there and literally just strip the place of your stuff and stick it in what are those things called? A dumpster, like a tip.
Yeah, because there was a lot of...
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, obviously, that you couldn't keep, but we don't know if there was some good stuff in there. It had to be done in a hurry.
Yeah, I tried. I still remember one very awkward, my cousin who very sweetly, another cousin, he came and he helped me and he moved the furniture out. And him and I were sitting there visiting my dad. And my dad said, oh, please can you, the next time you go there, go into this drawer, I'm looking for some photographs. And my cousin and I just kind of looked at each other because there was nothing in the house at that point. Everything was gone.
Hectic.
So it was hard and horrible. And then I resented them. I was angry as well.
Yeah.
It took a long time to let all of that go. Anyway, so long story. I hope you had coffee. But that's really what precipitated. We didn't realize it at the time. Actually, what happened was I was working with a public speaking coach for the TED Talk, and she was talking to me about my past. And she actually put 2 and 2 together, and she said that's what precipitated. I always said, I want, minimalism was when we sold our stuff. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was when I moved my parents.
There was also an incident that you talk about in the TED Talk, which is sort of a little bit smaller than everything. And it's also a point that one should keep in mind, when you're holding on to things and not using them. Is that story with
the towels?
The towels,
yeah.
It's quite sad, actually.
Yeah, it was really sad because my mom had this fetish for hand towels, bath towels, and she... Like the ones in the bathrooms were always ratty. It was embarrassing. They were so ratty. But in her cupboard, there were these brand new towels. And she always said she was saving them for something special, some special occasion or whatever. And then she finally got to use them when I cleaned out the house and I took them to the old age home because they needed to have some personal items. And she was so deep into Alzheimer's, she did not know a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was actually quite sad opening her cupboard to start clearing it out and seeing those towels there.
Yeah.
So that's the start of our minimalist journey.
Yeah, so actually not all that fun, but very, very profound and meaningful, and it'll probably give you a good idea about why especially Ange is so passionate about it. It was such a hard thing to do, and I actually never really thought of it too deeply in those terms. I knew that was some kind of catalyst, but talking about it now, I'm starting to understand, the sort of subtext of our mission and why Ange did the TED Talk. Why we started the blog. There was actually a blog before the one some of you might have seen now called Balance in Life. Was a rather silly one.
But all about the same thing.
Same thing,
yeah.
And the reason why we're doing YouTube.
Yeah, we're on such a mission because really, if I can help anybody avoid this, I will. And it's also why I get so excited because we sometimes get comments from people who say, I'm letting go of stuff now because I won't do this to my kids, and I'm like, yes, like I just
Success.
love you. Yeah, I want to hug you and kiss you and tell you your kids must know how lucky they are because, the thing is, I don't blame them. We all live our own lives, and my parents, they come from that silent generation. It was before the baby boomers. And they both had challenging lives, It was a very weird family dynamic that I grew up in, but they tried their best.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
Yeah. So I love them, and I hated that I had to lie to them, but
But if you think about it, the way the end came for both of them was gentle, and they were taken care of,
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I'll just tell you that quickly before now you'll need 4 buckets of coffee after this. My mum, okay, she had Alzheimer's and she was in this this ward, but they were gentle with them there and they were very sweet, and I used to go and visit her, and I actually got to see a really funny side of her, because I don't know if any of you have been exposed to people with Alzheimer's, but I say that I got to have 2 moms, because the one I saw who had Alzheimer's was very naughty and very playful and mischievous.
Mischievous, yeah.
She was
so
hilarious.
sweet.
She used to make us laugh, the stuff that she got up to. She was in there a year and then she passed away, thankfully, because a lot of people with Alzheimer's last many years. And then my father was there for 2 years, and the thing about him, he was a bit of a what's that word? Not
Casanova.
kind of, yeah,
But like a downplayed one, like an Afrikaans Casanova.
yeah, and he had the most gorgeous blue eyes, and the ladies loved him. And at the old age home, he was very much outnumbered. There were a lot more women than men,
yeah.
and he loved it. Hey, he lapped it up. So I think
often we'd go and visit him, and there'd be like a circle of ladies around him. It was so lovely.
yeah, and he really enjoyed it. So I think he forgave me in the end for what I did. So
Yeah.
there we go. So there you asked. You probably got way more than what you expected, because we actually had 3 questions, but I think we knew that this one would
be a long one.
Would be a long one. I don't know. Should we just leave it with this one for now, and we can go back, or?
Yeah, I mean, we can keep those for another time.
It was quite long.
Yeah.
And a lot to assimilate and think about as well.
Everybody probably needs a bathroom break, another coffee, and whatever else. Or a glass of wine.
1 o'clock.
Lord knows, I could use one now.
Mm-hmm.
What's the time?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
sorry,
really,
that's a little bit heavy for a Sunday morning,
Yeah.
but I've been wanting to share this story, and this was a good opportunity to do it. So there we have it.
Our first kind of coffee chat thingy.
Yeah, let us know what you think about this style. We just wanted to do something more simple and chatty, because we feel like you're all friends of ours. These comments, we keep talking and saying how much we appreciate them, and we'll keep saying that because we really do, but it's like a big friendship circle. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's nice to actually just let you know a bit of personal stuff about us. And I mean, there's obviously a lot more that we can share, so we'll do that with the questions. We'll combine the questions with more stories from our life, and because the journey itself is very interesting. It wasn't just about decluttering.
Yeah, no,
there's a lot of stuff that's happened.
There's lots. We're thinking at one point we'll have to make sure. Sporty's really tech savvy, so we'll probably pull it off. But we're actually thinking of possibly doing these as live chats rather than just us recording, which is really cool, because then you could join us in real time and ask questions. So, but we'll get Sporty to research that, and we'll get back to you. Maybe we'll leave something in the community tab.
Yeah, we can leave a poll and see if that's
Yeah.
The thing that we need to keep in mind is the time zone.
I was just thinking about that.
That might be a bit tough for us.
Yeah, we'll think of different ones. On that note, if you managed to get to the end, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you, and we love the fact that you are with us on this journey and doing your own declutterings.
And sharing that with us.
Yeah.
It's one of the favorite things of this journey for us.
Yeah, and share this with anyone you know who's been stubborn about moving or decluttering. You never know, it might spark something.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, keep it simple, keep it happy,
and age with intention.
See you next time. Bye! Coffee!
First I drink coffee, then I do things.